Ladies and gentlemen, Americans are pissed off, or at least most of them are. Why exactly? Because a particular community has been walking into their country since the 1990s, and that particular community has refused to assimilate, and sometimes they are hostile, and now they're extorting billions of dollars from the U.S.A. and channeling them to support other causes, including a terror organization in East Africa called the Al-Shabaab. Ladies and gentlemen, this video is a deep dive of all that and much more. So subscribe, like, share, comment, do everything that is necessary to make sure this video is pushed to as many people as possible. Guys, before we even get to the juicy part of this video, I want to give you a brief history so that you get to understand why exactly are Somalis refugees in the USA and why Donald Trump is calling their country a shithole. Okay, so here's a brief history. Somalia is a country in East Africa surrounded by Ethiopia in the west, Djibouti in the northeast, and the Great Kenya in southwest. Somalia has a population of approximately 20 million people, and 99% of Somalis practice Sunni Islam. Somalis are one of the most clan-based societies in the world. Their loyalty to clans often override their loyalty to the state, hence the core challenge to national unity. In Somalia, clans influence politics, security, business, marriage, conflict resolution, etc. Now, let us do a little bit of political breakdown. Guys, Somalians were traders, sailors, warriors, and scholars long before colonization. And during colonization in the late 1800s to 1960, Somalia was split to British Somaliland, Italian Somaliland, French Somaliland, and parts of it was given to Ethiopia and the Great Kenya. In the post-colonialism or in the post-colonial era, from 1960 to 1969, British and Italian Somalilands united to form Somalia Republic, a democratic system, but corruption, weak institutions, and clan favoritism were prevalent problem. From 1969 to 1991, there rose someone called Said Barre who took charge of Somalia in a military coup, and he made a few improvements, but corruption, repression, mass killings, and war with Ethiopia in 1977, whereby Somalis suffered a devastating defeat, ensured that by the late 1980s, the state of Somalia was seriously collapsing. By 1991, the state collapsed and civil war broke out, resulting to the overthrow of Said Barre, elimination of central government, a takeover by warlords, clan wars emerged, famine, and mass displacement. The UN and the US intervened in 1993 to stabilize Somalia, but Somalia was far too gone, and it became the textbook definition of a failed state. So after the collapse, Islam replaced the government by forming Islamic Courts Union to restore order. But in 2006, Ethiopia, with the backing of the US, invaded Somalia, collapsing the ICU, or International Court Unions. And from those chaos, Al-Shabaab emerged. This terror organization is an Islamist extremist group linked to Al-Qaeda. The Al-Shabaab oppose Somalia government, the Western influence, and AMISOM forces, and they also control parts of rural Somalia. So guys, Somalia today has a federal system, not a unitary one. Their institutions are weak. corruption is prevalent, they depend on foreign aid, and they have limited control outside cities. Now, let us do a little bit of an economic breakdown. Guys, Somalia is one of the poorest countries in the world, mostly ranking in the top 10 depending with your point of view. Their GDP as per 2025 is 13 billion US dollars compared to the US, who has the GDP of 30 trillion US dollars. So that means that the US economy is 2,300 times larger than Somalia's economy. And you should also remember that that 25 to 30% of their economy depends on remittance from Somalis abroad. Their currency is weak regionally and globally. Can you imagine that $1 US equals to 570 Somali shillings? Yeah. Like, I prepared a video here to paint a picture of what exactly is going on in Somalia, and also to help other people to understand why Americans really dislike Somalians over there. So guys, without further ado, let's get into this shit.
They contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks.
This reminds me of OG Trump. This reminds me of 2016 Trump just ripping it to shreds and not giving a single F. This is what people voted for. Just someone just telling it like it is. And I'm sorry, I have to give credit where credit is due. He's not wrong here. When we talk about what these Somalis and Arab immigrants have done to places like Michigan and Minnesota, it's wild because they've literally turned it, at least for Somalia's sake, they've literally turned into little Somalia. And personally speaking, I've never understood why you would leave a country, come here, and then turn here into said country you left. Why are you fleeing a country just to turn it into where you don't want to be? And this extends past like Somalia and stuff. This is like every nation. People are like waving the Mexico flag and during the ICE protests, like, then go. If it's so great, then go. But you literally have Somali refugees waving a Somali flag. I'm sorry, you're a refugee. Like, you're.
Yeah. Amir is right. I agree with him 100%. And I think he's trying to get at the cultural significance when it comes to your identity. Because being an American is not just about meeting legal requirements. There are philosophical and cultural requirements that you need to meet in order for your American identity to be complete. And that is exactly what he's talking about here. So, for you to live the same way you used to live in your former country, it does not reflect your willingness to transform into an American. It does not reflect your willingness to adjust and adapt our way of life. And I think that is the biggest problem most Americans have with these foreigners.
Does that make sense to y'all? How are you fleeing your home country, seeking refuge here, but then wanting to recreate what you left here? That doesn't add up, and people are seeing it non-stop.
And we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries too. I can say it about other countries too.
I don't want you to misinterpret what Trump is saying. Trump is saying, I don't want them in our country. He's not saying that I don't want particular individuals. This is not racism. This is not race. Trump is stating that he does not want particular mindsets, particular values that are counterproductive to the development of America. Because what Trump has seen is that people come into this country, they have different values. Their values don't align with American values. They do not see the world the same way Native Americans see the world. So this friction is causing, underdevelopment in America.
Don't want them the hell. We have to rebuild our country.
When I hear Trump say, we don't want them in our country, I don't hear him saying, we don't want those brown people in our country. We don't want like the actual like individual in this country. To me, I'm hearing that as we don't want the people that are not going to assimilate here. We don't want you here. Why are you here? Again, if you're just trying to emulate what the country is that you left, go back there. You're in America. We're keeping America, America. You can come on over here. You can immigrate and assimilate.
That is very important. Immigrate and assimilate. Like the reason why each and every country has a society and that society has a distinct identity. For example, when you come to Kenya, we have a distinct identity, and that identity comes from our values, our beliefs, the gods that we worship, how we look at the world, how we interact with other people. It gives us a distinct identity. The music we make, the movies we enjoy, the foods we make over here, all that contribute to our identity. Americans have a distinct identity, and that identity is being propagated in a country called America, because that is where they've built their environment, a stable environment whereby it is possible for them to share their values, their beliefs, and everything else without resistance.
Immigrate and assimilate, but you can't immigrate and then turn it into what you left. For the conversation's sake, for us being here right now, if we all say, you know what, let's go travel to Tokyo, we have an expectation of what Tokyo is. If we say, oh my gosh, let's travel to the Bahamas, we have an expectation of what the Bahamas is. We should have that same expectation for what America is. It's fair to have that assessment, and it's fair to say, we don't want you in America if you're not going to assimilate. Why are you here? Visit all you want. But if you're going to live here, abide by America's rules like you do everywhere else. You go to Japan, you abide by who? Japan's rules. You go to Dubai, you abide by who? Dubai's rules. You don't go to Dubai, wave an American flag, have sex on the street, do whatever you want. No, you'll be put in jail. They have morals, they have standards, they have groundings of what they expect Dubai to be. Do I disagree with a lot of things that they put in place? For sure. But they stand on business. And America should be standing on business.
We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great.
And I think it is also important to understand, I don't know if I am misinterpreting these things, but when Trump says someone is garbage, I don't think he is, I don't think he's using it in a derogatory way. I don't think it's just insulting someone and stuff. I think it is your values. Trump is not saying that this person is garbage, like you're worth nothing. No. Trump is just saying your values, your mindset, your ideas, okay, compared to our standards, they are nothing. They are meaningless. They are worthless compared to where we want this country to go. So Trump is not insulting a particular community or a particular person by saying that they are garbage. Your ideas, your values, how you want our country to be ran is garbage. Your ideological system is garbage. It is worthless.
These are people that do nothing but complain.
That's all they do is complain about America. America this, America that, white people this, white people that. Then why the hell you here? Leave. You sought refuge here. You got refuge here. You are trying to help more Somalians seek refuge here. If it's that bad, don't come here. It's a very simple observation. It's a very simple take.
That is true. People don't go to places that are worse than where they came from. People go to places where it is a little bit better. People seek places, or people go to situations that are easier, better, situations that serve them better. So Americans don't understand why Somalians are crying and complaining and lamenting when they came from hell. Literally, Somalia is hell. Do you know the life expectancy in Somalia? it is 57 years. If you live to see 57 in Somalia, you've lived a full life. So that is why, like, people are confused. Like, people don't understand, why are these people complaining when you live in the greatest country in the world?
If you hate America, don't be here. It's one thing if you're born in America, you're an American citizen, and you calling out some different things you don't like and you want to address it, cool. But coming from another country, no. We can't do that. And like Trump said again, we are at a tipping point, and this is why it's a national conversation day in and day out, every few couple years. Why? Because it's time we really start paying attention to what's going on in our own country and it withering away. 1, the crime. 2, the cultural identity of America, like I said, just being gone. And on top of that, the sheer amount of things we have to focus on inside our own home. We can't be Captain Save the Whole, trying to save the whole damn world at that. We can't sit here and complain about everything but not focus on anything at the same time as taking in all these other third war ass people. If anything, we should just be accepting the brightest and the best from other countries. How much of that taxpayer money is focusing on furthering an actual U.S. citizen? That's what matters. That's why it's talked about so damn much. And we're going to get into it later in this video. But the fraud?
There's too much fraud. There's too much fraud. As a matter of fact, the fraud that happened in Minnesota has been dominating the news for the past few weeks. That is all CNN, ABC was talking about, because the magnitude, the level, the degree of fraud over there is out of this world.
The fraud? It's unhinged. It quite literally is. The amount of fraud and corruption regarding taxpayer money and funneling it back to Somalia, funneling it to different individuals, taking advantage of actual U.S. citizens. People are fed up.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar responding to her state's massive welfare fraud.
Now, this is the fraud Amir was talking about. Just take a look at this.
Scandal, pinning the blame not on the criminals, but those working to protect.
That is the funny thing. That is the funny thing. Omar has seen the degree of fraud that has been orchestrated by her community. And instead of calling out the individuals who are responsible for committing the fraud, she is blaming the authorities that are protecting Americans instead of demanding accountability from the individuals who committed the fraud. It's just crazy. I mean, I don't know which logic is she using here.
To protect the American people.
Oh,
if there was a linkage in that the money that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure of the FBI and our court system in that.
This is funny, man. This is funny. A failure of the FBI, yet the fraudsters, like, oh my God.
Figuring that out and basically charging them.
This makes a character very questionable. Okay? Somebody who defends thieves, man, like, that makes your character extremely questionable.
Laura Trump joins us now. Laura, thank you so much for joining us. So, what do you think about that explanation there, Ilhan Omar?
She could not figure out how she was going to convince people that that was the case, but she said it anyway. It's ridiculous. Of course, the only failure here is from the people who are in leadership positions in Minnesota who allowed this fraud scheme to happen. And I'm looking at Ilhan Omar and I'm looking at Tim Walz, and they really are in the crosshairs of this whole thing. And a lot of people are wondering how it is humanly possible that this was allowed to happen. And this
because they knew the scammers.
Yes, she's very involved in several of the people who have gone on to be indicted and convicted.
See? She knew the scammers. She knew the scammers. Here she is posing and taking photographs with, I think this is the biggest scammer. I think this is the face of the fraud, this guy here. And this guy is an illegal immigrant in the U.S.A. And guys, you cannot defend her. It's just impossible.
But she doesn't know how it happened.
The biggest pandemic era frauds in America. The largest single entity within the Feeding Our Future fraud was a restaurant in South Minneapolis called
the largest single entity. I want you to remember that. The largest single entity. And I want you to see the relationship between that largest single entity with Ilhan Omar and like, bro, take a
Safari restaurant. And Ilhan Omar has close ties to the owners and operators of that establishment, a couple of whom have been convicted in the case. She at one time did a Facebook video.
You know, things keep getting worse for her. Things keep getting worse for her. The largest single entity, the owners of the largest single entity, the Safari Hotel, the restaurant, were good friends with her. I mean, character, guys, character.
Filmed inside of the restaurant, and the video was filmed at a time while the fraud was actively going on. She did the video in the Somali language, endorsing the effort underway there.
She was there filming a Facebook video while the fraud was actively happening.
The owner of the restaurant was later convicted on 21 felony counts.
21 counts. Multiple fraudsters. And we're supposed to believe that this is not the fault of the people elected to serve the residents of Minnesota and America. Nope. It's the FBI. It's their fault. Well, listen to this.
It's true. A Somali fraud ring in Minnesota stole over $1 billion from Medicaid. How did this happen? Well, Medicaid programs are run by the states, which in Minnesota means the Tim Walz administration. Governor Walz and the state's other Democrats rely on Somali votes to get elected, so they decided to look the other way because they were afraid of, quote-unquote, political backlash. Don't take my word for it. That's what a Somali-American fraud investigator told the New York Times.
A Somali-American fraud investigator told New York Times. A Somali-American fraud investigator told New York Times. Not just an American fraud investigator. So if it is a Somali-American fraud investigator, this information has to be true. Imagine leaders, or should I say politicians, who are willing to look the other way to avoid political backlash instead of confronting fraudsters and stopping the fraud, stopping the theft, the embezzlement, the extortion, and the exploitation of public funds, guys. Like, come on, man. Like, really? Oh my God.
When these scammers realized that nobody was guarding the cash register, they went gangbusters. One program designed to provide housing stabilization assistance to patients ballooned to $104 million. When 4 years ago, it was projected to cost only $2.6 million. Some of these taxpayer
so there we go. The welfare systems in these states are administered by the states, so it's up to Governor Walz to dole out this money, and it sounds like he was giving it to people who never should have had it to begin with. It had totally fake programs.
Yep, that is true. Like, this is exactly what Amir has been talking about. The degree of fraud, it is just out of this world. It is mind-blowing. And Amir also discussed something to do with the Somalis taking advantage of taxpayers' money. You have heard Trump say that there is a significant amount of taxpayers' money going into sustaining the lives of Somalis in America. And someone has the guts to come on the internet and make a video like this. Take a look at this.
Thank you for working so hard so I can be home all day, free. I can use my EBT. Go to work for me, white boy, white girl. Yeah, go to work for me, you fucking white animals.
You know, I find this video hilarious and infuriating at the same time. Like, I'm laughing, I'm really cracking up, but at the same time, something in me wants to get into this screen and just grab this guy by his fucking ears and pull him up like this.
For me. Yeah, you work for me. And the U.S. government they work for me. All of you work for me. Now go to work. Pay them taxes. Take care of me and my people. All right? This is my land. I control this place. This is my reality. You all gonna be enchained. I'm gonna lock all you guys up if you don't pay your taxes. You fucking pay your taxes.
How do you defend that? How do you defend that? It is impossible. And there's another video here I want you to take. I want you to look at it. There was a woman who was trying to make an argument that we are not supposed to blame an entire community for what an individual or a couple of individuals have done in Minneapolis. And I'm like, no, like if the community was silent, it means maybe the community was complicit in the crime, because communal silence might imply in this case communal consent in the crime that was being committed in Minnesota. Just take a look at this.
I think it's important to have a conversation about America's not a charity. We have the opportunity and the ability to select who we want to come in and who we think is going to contribute economically and culturally. In Minnesota, we've seen 81% of Somalians are on welfare, 35% of Somalia's GDP is remittances, and now they've stolen at least $1 billion, maybe $8 billion.
Have you heard that? 25 to 30% of Somalian economy is reliant on remittance from Somalians who live abroad. Okay, so things are not okay over there. Things are not good in Somalia, man.
Billion. And so there's a question, the Somalian community.
No.
So there's a question, do we want to continue to allow
the
people...
Somalian community did not steal $1.6 billion.
Yes, the Somalian community did not steal billions of dollars, but they were silent about it. And
the 60 or so people who were convicted or who were charged with those crimes, they are responsible. Why is this collective responsibility thing now suddenly?
This is an important point.
Collective responsibility comes because she hasn't taken accountability. She hasn't even apologized. She is not encouraging authorities to seek her help and work with her to ensure that the individuals who exploited the state of Minnesota are being held accountable, brought to justice, and they face legal consequences.
News has obtained photos of one of the Somali illegal immigrants wrapped up in the Minnesota fraud scandal, posing with several high-profile Minnesota Democrats, including Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Governor Tim Walz.
This is crazy.
The man pictured is Abdul Dahir Ibrahim. He entered the country in 2000 and has had an order for removal since 2004. He also has a prior conviction in Canada for asylum and welfare fraud.
And in Canada.
As tells Fox News, Ibrahim was granted temporary protected status for 10 years, but should have never been eligible.
Dude is a criminal, and for some reason he was good friends with the likes of Ilhan, posing for photos with her. And you want to tell us that her character is intact, that she is a credible leader, that she's got integrity and stuff.
We have gotten, as a society, too damn nice, too damn empathetic. Oh, it's okay. You're not bothering anybody. You have your own little community here. You do this, you do that. Enough.
They came from paradise and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
It's just ironical for you to come from Somalia, get into the USA and still complain. It does not make any logical sense for someone to migrate from Somalia, enter the USA and still complain. It's like You've been thirsty for 30 years. And now you are in a place where there is water in abundance. And you're still complaining. Why are you complaining? Like, America is not remotely close to what is happening in Somalia. Like, these two countries are extremely different. There is a huge gap between Somalia and America. America is extremely developed. It is way better than Somalia. Somalia is a third world country. Like, Somalia ranks in the top 10 poorest country in the world. 57 years life expectancy. People are dying every single day. There is no peace, no stability. Like, people are not civilized over there. And you come to America and you complain, bro. It makes sense if you come from Canada and complain in America. It makes sense if you are a Saudi Arabian, you move to America and complain about it. But for a Somalian to move into America and complain about it, it makes zero logical sense.
How rude is it for you to come to the United States and then complain about it? How about you, if you want to complain so bad, you want to hip and holler about this damn country, go fix your own. Go fix your own. That's not hateful.
Guys, I don't believe Somalia can be fixed anytime soon. Somalia is a textbook definition of a failed state. And one of the reasons why Somalia is unfixable is because of Somalis, this clan mentality Somalis have. These people are way too loyal to their clan, to their national identity. Instead of forming a national identity and forming a united state that can help monopolize violence in Somalia and rebuild their institutions, they're way too, they want to live together, this. That is the problem over there, okay? That is the problem in Somalia. Like, they are focused on clans instead of looking at the bigger picture. Instead of forsaking their clans, for the good of their nation. Oh my God.
That's not bigoted. That's not anything other than being realistic and honest. If you hate it here so much and you waving a flag of your home country, go home and fix what you got going on there. How about that? Fix what you have going on there. If you want to complain so bad, if you want to come here, come here. But at least assimilate and at least talk highly about the country. Not talk highly. I'm not asking you to praise the country, but damn, don't shit on it every chance you get.
He's always been a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic.
Trump is not a racist. That is not racism. I don't think so.
And Islamophobic. We know that he called African nations a shithole in his first administration. We know that when he came down that escalator, he said he was going to stop Muslim immigration into this country.
Is that bad? Again, when does it become hateful to preserve your own nation? When does it become hateful to say America first? When does it become hateful to preserve your own culture?
That is not hate. That is not hate. That is being patriotic. Yeah, I want my country to come first. That is just a patriotic duty that Trump has to perform to his country.
To a degree, you can label anything Christian phobic, Islamophobic. You can label anything phobic that's just in opposition of, if you want to throw it out this loosely. It opens up a great dialogue and great conversation. But I know for me off the bat, when I hear we don't want Muslim immigrants in this country, I personally, again, I hear, I don't want people coming here not assimilating. I don't want people coming here bringing your own country here. We in America. We do things American here. Every other country has that expectation. Why can't we have that expectation?
It is not surprising that he is going after black immigrants in this country, and it's certainly not surprising that he's choosing a black immigrant community that is also Muslim.
Well, let's look at what the black Muslim community is doing. How are they acting?
Exactly. You cannot ignore their behaviors. You cannot ignore their values. You cannot ignore their ethos. The ethos of their community. is the ethos of their community in alignment with where America is headed or where the Americans want America to go? Is it in alignment? Because Trump is not going after Ugandans who live in America. He's not going after Kenyans who live in America. He's not going after the South African community in the USA. He is particularly going after the Somali community in the USA. There has to be a reason why he's doing that. There must be something the black Muslim community is doing that is out of the norm in the USA. Because
in the streets. How are they changing culture? How are they changing the town?
How are they changing culture? How are they changing culture? That is very important.
They're actively doing that's bringing them so much attention and has brought them so many attention for years to come. There's context behind
exactly. And that point, how are they changing culture? That is very, very important, because in this next clip, we are going to watch Tyler Oliveira talking about the same thing. There were some Arabs who are Muslims who walked into America and they changed everything over there. They started exerting their religious dominance and they started dictating how things are being ran in a particular town, which is just like, guys, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Take a look at this video.
Behind that. I have a more practical example that I think will strike some questions in your head. I think it's an interesting example.
You've been striking a lot of questions in my head.
All right, good. Okay, good. Because I'm just caffeinated right now. I'm kind of hyped up. I'm glad to be here, by the way. Thank you. So Hamtramck, Michigan was a predominantly Polish town. It's basically a suburb of Detroit.
Okay.
It was a predominantly Polish town. Predominantly Polish town. Okay, I want you to know that.
I believe in 2023, the city council unanimously votes in favor of banning the hanging up of a gay flag, LGBTQ plus flag, in Hamtramck. The city council unanimously votes in favor of not allowing them to hang up this flag on public property. Yeah. Interestingly, this was a predominantly Polish town, and then I believe 44% of the population is born outside of the country now today. So almost half of the town was not even born here. The city council is, all three representatives are Muslim. Through this acceptance and this sort of this kind, welcoming attitude this town had, they have allowed people to come here and change the fabric of this idea of acceptance and hospitality. And then they
changing culture. So foreigners walked in. They walked into this community that existed, and then they changed everything over there. That is not fair.
Banned the allowance of this flag to be hung up, and we did a video there almost 2 years ago, and these little Muslim kids from Yemen, or they're born here, their parents are from Yemen, so they're, I guess, what, first gen?
Yep. Is that what it is? I always forget.
I always fuck it up too.
Is it first gen?
It's first gen.
If you're okay.
So they're throwing eggs at the gay flags that are hung up on private property in this town. And then a school teacher in this video comes out and he tells these kids, I used to be your teacher. This country was built on separation of church and state, basically. And these kids kept saying that gay LGBTQ plus flag is not religion. We have the right to practice our religion. Basically presenting this interesting question of, when you have this Muslim majority in a town like Hamtramck, at what point, if at all, do they infringe upon someone else's ability to have their flag up or whatever, right? What are the cultural implications of?
See? That is exactly why Americans are like, nah. We gotta get to a place where we say enough is enough. We gotta get to a place where we say, hey, these are the boundaries. We gotta get to a place where we draw the line in the sand. Because if people are able to walk into your country and change important aspects of culture, change how you interact with other people, change values, the things you believe in as Americans, equality, freedom of expression, democracy. If people walk into your country and they shut that down, what does that say about the foreigners? And what actions should you take to defend your country and the values of your country?
This religion becoming a majority in this town.
You're getting into the question of like where what you might describe as like wolf coming in the hen house, right? Like you're saying, oh yeah, come on in because you're dressed as a hen or whatever.
And then once
boom,
they assume political dominance.
Yes, and it uses it. Yeah,
they
I see what you're
eat
saying.
you alive.
Yeah.
Sure, and this little fable analogy we're using.
Yeah.
Or if you look at Dearborn, Michigan.
That was the one
And I'm not even
thought.
trying to fearmonger, but these are two interesting case studies we're kind of witnessing play out in real time. If you look at Dearborn, Michigan, there's sort of a famous speech by the mayor. He responds to a local that has lived in the town. I think he starts mentioning like Hezbollah or something. I'm not sure what the impetus for this response was. But the mayor, you should play this clip. He goes, "You're an Islamophobe. I can't wait the day you leave this town."
I did see this. Yeah, someone was coming in, and it was perfectly like kind of soft-spoken dude, just
chill
saying,
guy.
like, I remember this clip. God, that was like 9 months ago.
This is like old Ford manufacturing town. Like, this is a bread and butter American manufacturing hotspot back in the day. Now run by Muslims.
Yeah.
Who hate guys like him who are not excitedly happy that it is now Muslim majority.
If you speak something that is perceived as unacceptable concerning Muslims, all of a sudden you are xenophobic, you are an Islamophobe, you are a racist. But when Muslims or other individuals who are classified as the minority express their discontent and they express their dislike in you, it is okay. It is okay for them to do that, but it is not okay for you. Like, why? Why is that the case?
You know, you should be able to practice your religion freely in America. That's part of what we're built on. But when you take religious doctrine, even before you get into political office, by the way, I'm not even talking about getting to this level, but when you take religious doctrine and try to ingratiate that in culture, and let me give an example. You want to say that, your wife is not allowed to drive and I can never see anything but her eyes. I'm not the biggest fan of that because that's not what we stand for in the West. We stand for, equal opportunity for everyone, for men and women. So, like, I want you to be able to practice your religion, but you have to, in the same way that you've seen, like, most of Christianity have to modernize with things that don't make sense in the modern day, you should have that expectation of other religions, of course, with Islam.
And guys, I think it's fair to say that there is a very big difference between Islam and Christianity, even when it comes to their collective temperament. The collective temperament of Islam is very different from the collective temperament of Christians. Christians are open to discussion. They can debate with you almost every single thing. They are tolerant to challenges and other people trying them, challenging their faith, challenging their beliefs. They are willing to debate that. But Muslims are conventional. They don't like to be challenged. It is either this or they don't like it. That is why most Americans are Muslims, when you come here, you have to be willing to adjust. In America, we do things differently. In America, we challenge each other. In America, we are concerned about other people. We put democracy, we put equality first. Religion is not up here, is not at the top in our hierarchy of values. There is something at the top, and things like equality, democracy, humanity is at the top of our value hierarchy. But most of Arabs and Muslim countries, religion is oftentimes at the top of their value hierarchy. So that is the difference.
As well. That's just
so. How do you reconcile with a religion that fundamentally disagrees with that as a concept? Is my question. I don't know what the answer is, but it's an interesting question. Why we should even set ourselves up in the position to deal with that question and answer that question? What are the inherent upsides of importing people who have fundamental, intrinsic, cultural, religious differences? Oil and water in some of these scenarios. I'm not saying that is fully the case. There are similarities. It's a monotheistic religion. There are more similarities. I'm not an expert on the Quran or Islam, but it presents some important questions. That's all I'm saying.
And maybe, if you don't want all that friction, maybe you should just avoid importing people into your country who have different cultural and religious beliefs.
Is that most of us are citizens. On our passport, it says we are nationals of this country. We love that Minnesota has welcomed us. Many of us have not been settled in Minnesota. We chose it as a home because the Minnesota people and the state is beautiful and very welcoming. And we are going to be here regardless of what the president has to say.
That's the problem. That is the problem right there. When you make the statement that we are gonna be here regardless of what the president says, that is a big problem. That statement is problematic because I stated earlier that different territories host different societies and you have to negotiate your entry into a particular society. You don't force your way into a society. You have to negotiate your stay in a society. And how do you do that? By accepting their norms, by accepting their cultural norms, by living by the rules they have put in place. But if you walk into a society, you want to change things, you want to disregard and violate their rules, you don't want to be like them, and when they tell you that we've had enough and you need to leave our society, you start crying, you start complaining, you start insulting the authorities in that society. And finally, you say that you're not gonna leave regardless of what the president says or regardless of what the authorities of that society says. We don't do things like that. We don't do things like that.
Somalia Hanulato! Somalia Hanulato!
Somalia. Somalia. Hiran State. Mawisle. Mawisle.
That's why people get upset. That's why people share their opinions out loud and vocal. This is why people find problem with the Somalians and like the people from these Muslim countries, because no one's assimilating. This isn't even America. We have a right to stand up and use our voice to preserve and protect our own nation and what makes it great, and the customs and traditions that have prevailed through all the different things that we've gone through as a country. At the bare minimum, speaking English should be one of them. At the bare minimum, not waving around and parading another country's flag should be the minimum. This shouldn't even be controversial to say. This shouldn't even be a spicy opinion that you or I have. This is quite literally ridiculous. And it rightfully so makes so many people upset because of how much taxpayer money is just being thrown away. Going back to the whole fraud scheme of all the money and the people that have been indicted so far. It's a problem. $250 million, you guys. $250 million just like...
Everything that he says is just factual. Because in every single society, there are elements that give individuals who live in that particular society a sense of identity. And those elements are things like the flag, the president, the national anthem, national holidays, the language that most people speak in that country, or the official language. And in America, the predominant language or the official language is English. And you must also respect the flag of the U.S.A. And are Somalians respecting the flag of the U.S.A.? Are Somalians respecting the president of the U.S.A.? Are Somalians observing holidays, national holidays of America? Are they doing all that? Are they really doing all that? That is why people have problems with Somalians who live in America.
The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also saying
I wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, the mayor is stupid, and that's not a flex. Oh, I'm proud to have the largest Somalian community. What happened to just having a large American community? That sentence alone is crazy to me. The largest Somalian community. How about just the largest American community? Or even like if they did immigrate here, largest Somali American like community. But like when we go to where you're at, you're met with like a different country essentially. That's not a flex. You don't have an American city. You just have a little Somalia. That's not good.
And most of those people.
Yeah, and that also begs the question. For an individual to be elected into office, should their interests align with the interests of foreigners or the interests of America or the interests of Americans who want to see America advance? Should they play the kind of politics that are going to empower foreigners or Americans in America? That's a topic that should be debated, because I am seeing this becoming a trend where people are like, hey, foreigners, you're here now, elect me, put me in office, I am going to take care of you. Like you don't want to elect individuals who are going to extort and exploit the resources of your country efficiently. And they are doing that because they want to empower foreigners. That is not a good idea. And it's something that Joe Rogan also found to be kind of concerning. Yeah. He didn't like it. If you are in America, you should always put America first. Not foreigners. The foreigners who are in America should put America first. Yeah, patriotism. Patriotism. You have to be patriotic to a country that is protecting you, a country that is sustaining you. You cannot be in America and your allegiance lie with Somalia. That means, are you a spy or something? Are you here to destabilize America for the sake of Somalia? Like, come on, man. So people should stop putting individuals in office based on how much they want to empower foreigners. The foreigners that are in America are supposed to take care of America, and America will take care of them. Simple.
Good as hell, but he's incompetent. Waltz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides.
I don't see any rationale. I don't see what argument a Somalian can possibly make to say that, oh, America is this and this and this. I expect this from America. Like, America is the best country in the world, is the greatest country in the world. And I am not saying that just because I heard it being said by other people. Considering the amount of people America is managing and the standards or the quality of life each and every single person, or at least the majority of people in America, are enjoying, America is the greatest country in the world. Like, the countries that have a society that is as large as America or close to, the size of American society is Indonesia, Pakistan. And if you compare the quality of life and the level of development in those countries to the level of development in America, bro, there is a huge difference. Say whatever you want. about the greatness of America, but as far as I'm concerned, America is the greatest country in the world. So for a Somalian to say that, oh, the constitution, this, complaining about America, are you insane or something? Like in Somalia, you might wake up the next day and find out that your business has been destroyed. Like your business can be destroyed overnight. Do you understand that in Somalia, a bomb can go off randomly? Do you understand that in Somalia, political assassinations are common? People have difficulty going to school. People are being forced to pay taxes. Like being in a wrong place at the wrong time will definitely cause your death. Do you understand that police do not respond to calls? Police are extremely unreliable. The soldiers in Somalia are not loyal to the country. The soldiers in Somalia are loyal to their clans. Do you understand? Like, do you understand all that? There is no justice. Like, the justice institutions do not exist in Somalia. In Somalia, you don't have utilities like electricity and water, or at least those utilities are only available in cities. But outside the cities, you can't enjoy such utilities. You're in Somalia.
This country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now.
This is the shit that people missed. This OG Trump, this classic Trump, ripping her to shreds. And it's so true. This constitution, go fix your own constitution. You hipper and hollering about Somalia so damn much, speaking the language, flying the flag, go. Depart. First flight, go. I don't understand why you are here in the first place if it's that bad. You wouldn't even be alive. They don't represent the interests of our country. You always waving the other flag and speaking that damn language. Why? You clearly are only putting forward Somalian ideals and culture and identity. Go there. I think that's so absurd to come.
Exactly. A leader in the U.S.A. should put the interests of America first, not the interests of her community. Your community should have America's best interest at heart.
To another country and create your own country inside that country. And again, I'm consistent across the board with these little ass Chinatowns and Mexico villages and all that kind of stuff. No.
That is where I differ with Amir when it comes to the difference between these communities, because in my opinion, I think there is a very big difference between the Somali community, the Chinese community, and the Mexican community in America. I think the Chinese community are net positive in America. They contribute in the development of America. First of all, you have to consider how Chinese found themselves in America. Chinese started migrating to America 150 years ago, and they were economic immigrants. They went to America to construct railways, to work in farms, and expand the agricultural industry or the agricultural sector in America. So they have been a positive force all along. And you also have to consider the fact that Chinese are extremely industrious. They are extremely industrious, and they are really, really intelligent. Like, we don't have to argue about that. It is something that has been established. And when you look at the Mexican community in America, you'll realize that they migrated to America for economic reasons. Therefore, they are economic immigrants, and they are a positive force in the U.S. economy. They are contributing a lot in the expansion of the U.S. economy, opposed to Somalis who are there because they seek asylum. They are refugees over there. As a matter of fact, they are using way more resources than they are contributing. Okay? They are kind of an expense to America because most of them are being sustained by welfare programs. That is the difference. The only downside to having foreign communities like Mexicans is that they provide cheap labor, and as a result, Americans or corporations in America do not see the need of increasing salaries and wages and minimum wage. I think that is the only downside. But everything else considered, I think Mexicans and Chinese are a net positive in America, but Somalians, not so much.
But I think at the bare minimum, businesses, English only. You can speak and translate in another language. But I think we have advertising rules. I think if you are advertising in this country, it's only in English and you're only speaking English. You can translate other things, but I should be able to go in every single store, every single business in America and read what's going on. And I should be able to drive down the street and see every single billboard and see what's going on. It's always disturbed me seeing billboards in other languages. It always has. I'm cool with the airport. I'm cool with different languages and signs.
And Amir is not the only person who is being irritated by seeing billboards written in other languages, especially in these, where these foreign communities reside. Yeah, in the next video, we are going to see how Tyler was also, irritated by the same thing, disturbed by the same thing, because the least you can do when you move into somebody else's society is at least learn their language. That is the least you can do.
Languages and signs in the airport, that makes sense. Maybe in big touristy areas, sure. Other than that, we in America. This business is, I know some people speak English in other countries, I get it, but I'm not expecting to go to Tokyo and see American billboards, American signs, and English this, English that. No, because I'm over there. I'm in their country. So if you're here in this country, you're abiding by this country's rules and ideals.
Exactly. Now here is Tyler expressing the same thing. Is Tyler also being frustrated by the same thing? Take a look at this video.
I pulled up to Little Mogadishu to talk to the Somali community and figure out what's really going on here. So this sign is in full Somali. I don't see a variant of it in English. That's fascinating. Let's see if it's English on the back. No, Somali only. I guess why even learn English if you can just read the signs in Somali? If you don't force the people who move here to learn English, they never will or will never have the need to learn English.
Exactly. You have to create conditions. You have to create circumstances that will force people, will demand people to learn English, or else they won't. You have to create a degree of discomfort whereby if you don't understand a particular language, your life won't be as efficient as it used to be. Like, you have to create difficult conditions and incentives for people to feel the desire or to be compelled to learn something, or else they won't. And this thing is just irritating most Americans. Most Americans are irritated by this particular thing.
What's it like being a Muslim here in the United States?
I'm not speaking English.
They don't speak English, and they are in America. English is the official language over there. It is the predominant language, is the language that most people understand with ease. So the least you can do is at least try to learn it. Break it, but at least learn it and speak it consistently.
What does it mean to you to be a part of Islam?
I don't know. I'm not speaking English very well.
How are you? Do any of you speak English? English? No. Can women speak on camera? No.
This looks like a third world country. This looks like he's not even in America, and that's the problem. I ain't even ever been here to make... I've been to the airport. Oh, I was at the airport, and they were doing... I'm not trying to be offensive, but they're like doing the prayers in the corner, and I was like, what the fuck? What is going on? I've never seen that before. It was all over the airport. Everybody's in there tucked away in the little corners praying. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? That was here. I felt like I wasn't in America. I felt like I was in an international airport. Granted, it is an international airport, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I felt like I was not here. This doesn't even look like America.
I kept going because I wanted to speak with some more of the elders here to see if they could share their story about coming here from Somalia and how they've seen the rise firsthand. However, none of them spoke English. How are you? Can I ask any of you guys some questions? No? Speak English?
English no.
No? Do any of you speak English? After a few interviews, somebody came up to us angry because we were asking people about the rise of Islam inside this community.
Now, this is the hostility I was talking about in my intro. Yeah. Like, Americans are experiencing hostility from Somalians. Take a look. I'm not making these things up.
My name is Dick Shirley. What are you doing? My name is Dick Shirley. I'm a YouTuber. We're doing a video on the rise of Islam here in the United States.
The rise of Islam?
Yeah, it's the #1 converting religion.
The rise of Islam. Make it make sense for me.
Yeah, it's the #1 it's the #1 converting religion in the United States, so we're doing a top
the
subject on it.
#1 converting religion in the United States.
It's like the #1 growing religion. So.
Wait, isn't it after Christ?
What?
Isn't it after Christ?
Like, I don't understand why it is acting so surprised. It is a basic question. It is a simple question. Like, bro, like, what the fuck? Why are you acting surprised? Like, the rise of Islam. Like, come on, man. Like, is it a taboo to ask such a question? Like, bro, like, I don't understand these people.
After Christ.
This guy wouldn't show his face on camera, and this conversation kept going for a few minutes, and he demanded that we deleted the footage of the interviews that we took here on the street. I said no.
Look, I'm not even American, but I feel offended by the behaviors that these people are showing. I really do. Because I'm like, bro, I'm putting myself in the shoes of Americans, and every single thing that these people are doing is just, nah, man. Nah, bro.
You better go, and we're gonna make sure you leave. I've never been in a situation like that while I've been filming. Somebody.
He has never been in such a situation, and this is coming from a YouTuber who constantly puts themselves in dangerous situations to create content. That means a lot. That really means a lot. And if you think that he's the only one who experienced such hostility in the Somalian community, wait until what happened to Tyler in the same community. Take a look at this.
Well, we might get shot out here if we keep sticking around. Okay, I'm walking away. Hell no. Alright, bro is reaching in to pull out a gun.
Bro is reaching to pull out a gun. That is crazy.
That's sketchy. And then my cameraman said the Somali gangster grabbed what appeared to be a gun from his man purse and began sprinting towards us as we ran away for our lives. Guy's gonna pull a gun on us. Some guy back there. He was really going for the piece.
Oh man. See? That is the look of someone who's terrified. That is the look of someone who's terrified.
That might be the first time someone's fully, went in to grab the gun.
Do you understand what I mean here? Like, this is Tyler, somebody who constantly puts themselves in very, very messy, unsafe situations to create content. Tyler has been in India. Tyler has been surrounded by gangs. Tyler has infiltrated cults. He has exposed mega churches, but for some reason, this experience was the most terrifying of them all. Somebody pulled out a gun on them, and this is why most people are concerned. Like, really.
Carmel Mall was packed on the 4th floor with people from the Somali community and people coming out in support. On Friday, President Trump said that he would immediately terminate temporary deportation protections from Somalis living in Minnesota, blaming them for fraud in Minnesota.
We're not here by accident. We're here to stay forever.
What do you mean you're here to stay forever? What the fuck do you mean you're here to stay forever? I already stated, guys, you don't force your entry into a society, and you also don't force your stay in a society. If the authorities, if the individuals of that society and authorities perceive you as a threat and you don't deserve to be there, they have all the right to revoke your stay and deport you to where you came from. This is crazy, bro. This is really crazy.
There are currently 500 Somalis in Minnesota living with these protections and a total of 700 nationwide. Many expect this to be challenged in court, but in the meantime, Somalis here say they are fearful of what's to come.
People are always going to be fearful. But we're telling our people we're greater than our fear. We have resilience. We're people that are brave. What we decided to do is to bring our community in the heart of in the Somali community here in Minnesota, which is Carmel.
What the president is doing is not un-American. Stealing from America is un-American. Exploiting Americans is un-American. Like exploiting welfare programs, that is un-American. Pulling out guns on other Americans is un-American. Disrespecting the flag of the USA is un-American. Insulting the president is an-American. Forcing your stay in the USA is an-American.
Show that, our neighbors are with us, Minnesotans are with us, and we're all together in this fight.
Why can't we just be together? With us, the Somalis, we're American. Why is that such a missing gap for people? Why is that like not a thing you want to do is assimilate into American culture? Because clearly your culture done went decrepit.
Now, guys. I mean, now I think this is the highlight of this video. This particular clip where Ilhan Omar is disrespecting the president. She's using a different language and publicly claiming that her president is not Trump and some guy in Somalia called Hassan something. Like, this has to be the highlight of this video. Like, if nothing else offended you, this has to offend you. Like, bro.
madaxweynaha Soomaaliya madaxweyne Hassan Sheikh,
that her president is President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud.
inaan maanta ku soo dhaweyno Minneapolis.
And she's saying that let us give him a warm welcome, Minneapolis.
Our president of Somalia.
President Hassan Mahmoud is their president, and Trump is not the Somalis president. See, like, I don't know.
Taxpayer money pays for her, and she's saying that her president isn't even Trump. Her president is in Somalia. Our president. Why are you serving office? Why? Leave. You're not focusing on the betterment of America. You're not. That's not your goal. That's not your mission. You don't care about America.
This is disrespect of the highest degree. This is disrespect of the highest degree. I feel insulted. I feel offended by what she said. Yet I'm not even American, bro. But this is crazy. Like, you're not supposed to be saying this. There are things you're not supposed to be saying publicly. Yes, you might have such thoughts, but you're not supposed to express them. People are not supposed to hear such garbage coming out of your mouth.
We're gonna power through.
madaxweyne Hassan Sheikh Mohamud inaan maanta ku soo dhaweyno Minneapolis.
The president and I have a special relationship.
Special relationship aan qabnaa. Aniga adeeraan ugu wacaa, asigana gabarteeyu idahaa.
I call him uncle and he calls me his girl.
Madaxweyne sidii qof kasta uu yiri mininkaaga waaye.
Welcome to your home. Our home is your home.
Ku soo dhawow Minneapolis.
Welcome to Minneapolis.
Aad iyo aad aan ugu faraxsanahay in maanta madaxweynaheena aad tahay.
We are very happy that Hassan is our president. Duh! Dude, drive the fuck, man. Oh my god. Oh shit, man. Like, god damn it. I feel pissed off right now.
Somalia,
Somalia is our home. And yet, they are in America, not Somalia. She's saying that it is a home to all the people gathered there. We do not feel that it is far from us. Somalia is our heart. It is in our hearts. We always think about Somalia. That is why they were extorting billions of dollars and sending them back to Somalia. That is why they want to change Minnesota to reflect Somalia, because Somalia is in their heart. They are patriotic to Somalia. Somalia's interests come first before the U.S. interests. It's that simple. So, I've been telling you that Amir was not the only person who had issues, who was concerned about this. Yeah, let's watch this clip. Like, the degree of concern Americans have on this particular issue is just, yeah, it is. I don't think if Americans have ever been concerned about foreigners the way they are concerned about Somalis in America.
Right outside the studio.
Of Bill the Butcher from Gangs of New York. Okay. And that's actually very apropos. You ever seen that movie?
Nope.
Oh my God, phenomenal movie. So the premise is it's Daniel Day-Lewis, Leo DiCaprio, Marty Scorsese, all-timer.
All right.
But the premise is it starts in 1840s New York. New York is really starting to burgeon, and you have all the natives, you know, the people whose families were originally here, and then you have the dirty Irish, right? And so Bill Cutting is a native, right? And so he fights this war with Leonardo DiCaprio's father and wins. Leonardo DiCaprio flees the city as a child, comes back as an adult, and like sets up an Irish gang. And the whole concept is like, we don't want your dirty values in here or whatever. So I always look at that like the resistance of like being able to bring in a bunch of people, fighting against the idea that people want to be a part of this, but the resistance doesn't think they want to be a part of it. So what I was saying a minute ago is that we're at a moment where a lot of the people who maybe do want to come into these places are like, yeah, I want to be here, but they're not really about being here like they were when they came to Ellis Island. Sure. They're like, I want to become a part of this. And I think we have to change the expectations and the attitudes of people to be like, I want to be a part of this. Because by the way, I do know people who come here and like, they're all about, they want to learn the language. They want to be a part of the culture. They love America.
Yeah, but shouldn't they have learned the language before they've set foot at the doorstep of a country? You really think so?
Yeah.
Unless they're fleeing a war-torn country or somewhere that's legitimate, destabilized genocide.
Right.
Which I don't think is the predominant immigration story today. I think there's a lot of economic migration where people see America as a land ripe for economic, basically, economic plundering, economic exploitation, whatever word you want to use. They see dollar signs. They don't see, I'm going to learn English or do my best to prepare myself to speak the native tongue, which we don't have a national language, but it's English, all right? I would argue.
We don't have
a national language officially.
Well,
I don't
it's
believe.
not called
he
American.
can fact check me on that.
It's not called American, but like we speak English here.
We speak English, but we also speak Spanish. We also speak whatever the fuck we want, I guess, tomorrow. And if enough Haitian people come into New York City, let's say, then maybe we speak Haitian Creole. Maybe that's the unofficial language. He can fact check. It's interesting. We don't have an official national language, do we?
I've never thought about like if that's written like in the Constitution or some shit.
And I think the official language in America is English. Like America is an experiment. Like people from different parts of this world walk into America and they live a certain way. They share particular values, And that is what has made America a great country. People with different backgrounds, but when they enter America, there is an ethos that distinguishes America from everybody else. So people try to embody that ethos, and that is what has propelled America to the heights that America is in right now.
But like
maybe I'm...
Yes, English was designated... Oh,
okay,
it wasn't designated until 2025.
Okay, as of Trump. There you go.
Holy shit.
So this is interesting because it belies a more interesting conversation of...
Wow.
If we don't clearly define these things and what it means to be an American, right? What is the common tongue we have? Is it English? Is it Spanish? Is it French? Is it Haitian Creole? What religion are we? Are we just any religion? Insert the blank. Are we Catholic? Are we Protestant? Are we Muslim? Are we Jewish?
Where I would draw the line, because we do have written into the Constitution freedom of religion, and
Sure.
and there's a separation of church and state. So
I'm
cool.
But is there separation of church and state? First of all, and secondly,
Great question.
Is the Constitution liable to be amended once again?
Why would you amend it to not separate church and state? What's the argument there?
First of all, I would argue there never has been separation of church and state. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, whatever it is. Protestant values have been imbued within the Constitution from the get-go, right? So there are not one-liners from the Quran or the Torah. I mean, we can have a conversation about the whole Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah, that's a separate
But inarguably, it's a Protestant nation, right? Of Protestant settlers. Now we're undergoing identity crisis and this change in identity of New York City. Zoran Mamdani, I'm not an expert on the guy, but he speaks Arabic at the end of one of his speeches.
He does
where
have
wins.
a lot of accents. Yeah.
He's learning many tongues to accommodate the third world class that has been imported into New York City recently. For better or worse, that's just a fact. But he will appeal. What percentage of foreign-born New Yorkers voted for Zoran Mamdani would be an interesting question. I can give you a more...
based on polling, I guess, right?
I don't know how accurate any of this stuff is. We're kind of just throwing stuff at the wall.
It's all right. It's a fun conversations. All right, so... This is from the New York Post. Zoran Mamdani most popular with foreign-born New Yorkers. 62% of the foreign-born vote, while Cuomo netted 24% and Sliwa had 12%.
I wonder why. He's not born and raised here.
Yeah.
He appeals to people who are not born and raised here. He appeals to non-heritage Americans, right?
You gotta meet some requirements, and one of the requirements for you to be the president in the USA is for you to have been born in America. I think I'm right when I say that. Because imagine you elect somebody who was born outside the USA. And these people are the president of the USA, but they don't care about the USA. They care about foreigners more than they care about the USA. I mean, you're gonna have conflict of interest right there, because your first priority should developing the USA, not foreigners, not empowering foreigners in the USA. Like, it doesn't make sense. So guys, to finish this video, I just want to say that if the roles were to be reversed and Americans were the ones who were seeking refuge in Somalia, I don't think Americans would last in Somalia for more than 6 months. And I'm not saying, okay, assuming that Somalia is a great country like the US right now, and the US was as fragmented and underdeveloped like the Somali, I think they will not tolerate Americans for that long, because Somalis have a very low tolerance for outsiders. They don't like outsiders hanging in. I have first-hand experience with those people, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. Americans will not be there. Yeah. So I hope you learned something. If you like the video, like, share, subscribe. See you, man.